joke slipped out of his mouth like a sigh he had been holding for years, light and careless on the surface, heavy with loneliness underneath. And in that moment, Ethan Cross had no idea his life was about to tilt in an entirely new direction. It was his birthday, the kind he usually forgot, the kind marked by cheap cake from the bakery and a single candle his 6-year-old son insisted on lighting again and again just to watch the flame dance. He laughed. He shrugged. He made the kind of half-smile people make when they are used to expecting nothing. When his boss looked at him with that unreadable calm and offered a smile that felt far too serious for a joke, the air itself seemed to pause. If you believe in kindness and second chances, this is the moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel Midnight Tales, because some stories begin exactly where hope feels impossible. Ethan had learned to carry life quietly. Every morning started before sunrise, packing lunches with clumsy care, tying small shoes with fingers still stiff from sleep, and walking his son Noah to school before rushing to work. By day, he was reliable and invisible, the kind of employee everyone trusted, but no one really noticed. By night, he was a father doing his best to fill the empty space left behind by a woman who had chosen a different life. Birthdays were reminders of how much had changed, of dreams folded away like old letters. So when the office insisted on a small daytime celebration, balloons taped to glass walls, and a cake set out during lunch, he played along, smiling so Noah would one day learn how to smile through disappointment too. The joke came out when someone asked what he wished for. It was meant to be harmless, a deflection, a way to dodge the familiar pity. He said something about marriage, about needing help blowing out candles, about how life might be easier if someone stayed. Laughter followed, kind and brief. But one person did not laugh. His boss, Clara Whitmore, stood a little apart from the group, her expression softening in a way Ethan had never seen before. She was known for her sharp mind and distant professionalism, the kind of woman people admired from afar. She smiled then, slow and thoughtful, and said something quietly that no one else seemed to hear. It sounded like an invitation, and it stayed with him long after the cake was gone and the office returned to its hum. Clara Whitmore had built her life with precision. Success had come early, respect followed, and yet every evening she returned to a house that echoed too much. She had learned how to fill silence with work, how to dismiss longing as weakness. Watching Ethan that afternoon, seeing the way he smiled while exhaustion lived in his eyes, stirred something she had carefully ignored for years. His joke was not really a joke. It was a confession wrapped in humor, and she recognized it because she carried a similar one inside herself. The invitation she offered was not impulsive. It was a decision she felt settled deep in her chest, steady and deliberate. The rest of the day passed in a blur for Ethan. Numbers and emails lost their meaning, replaced by a quiet storm of doubt. He told himself he had misunderstood, that kindness from someone like Clara could never be meant the way his heart wanted it to be. He thought of Noah waiting at home, of routines that could not afford disruption, of the risk of hoping. Yet when the afternoon light stretched long across the city, and his phone vibrated with a simple message, reminding him of the offer, he felt something he had not felt in years. Anticipation. Clara's home was filled with daylight when he arrived, sunlight pouring through wide windows, touching everything with warmth. It did not feel like a grand gesture, but like an honest one. They talked without labels, about life, about exhaustion, about the strange weight of being strong all the time. Ethan spoke about Noah, about the fear of failing him, about birthdays that felt lonelier each year. Clara listened the way few people ever had, without fixing, without judging. In that space, something fragile and beautiful began to take shape, Not romance yet, but understanding. The days that followed did not magically solve everything. Ethan struggled with guilt, wondering if allowing happiness meant betraying the past. Clara wrestled with vulnerability, learning how to let someone see beyond her achievements. They moved slowly, meeting in daylight, sharing coffee, walking through parks where children laughed and life continued, ordinary and miraculous at once. Noah entered the picture carefully, curious and cautious, sensing change the way children always do. Clara did not try to replace anyone. She simply showed up, consistently, kindly, letting trust grow at its own pace. What surprised Ethan most was not the affection, but the peace. The way laughter came easier. The way his birthday no longer felt like a reminder of loss, but a marker of survival. Clara, too, found herself transformed, discovering that success felt richer when shared, that love did not weaken her strength, but expanded it. Their connection was not loud or dramatic. It was steady, built on shared mornings and honest conversations, on choosing each other again and again without promises that felt too big to keep. As seasons shifted, so did their lives. The office saw changes before explanations were given. Smiles lingered longer. Work felt lighter. Noah began to include Clara in drawings of his world, a quiet acceptance that spoke louder than words. Ethan learned that jokes sometimes carried truth, and that courage could look like showing up to an invitation even when fear whispered reasons to stay away. If this story is touching something in your heart, if it reminds you of love found in unexpected places, take a moment now to like, comment, and share, because stories like these live through the hearts they reach. Just before the ending, a special request to comment your thoughts, your hopes, or even your own story, because someone reading them might need that reminder today. On Ethan's next birthday, there were no jokes about wishing for marriage. There was morning light, shared laughter, and a sense of belonging he once believed was gone forever. Clara stood beside him, not as a rescue, not as a miracle, but as a choice they both made. In the quiet joy of that ordinary day, surrounded by the warmth of a life rebuilt, Ethan understood that sometimes the smallest jokes open the door to the greatest truths, and that love, when it comes, often arrives gently in the daylight, asking only that you let it in.